So more questions? Okay. Prof, I would like to also find out about. Hello.
Yeah, please, I still have a problem if I can bring it out.
Okay. Your question.
My problem is the issue of the research title that we have to involve those variables.
Please, for the sake of the recording, can you please mention your name and your institution?
Well, my name is, they call me Clem, USA, a doctoral student.
Okay.
Yeah, I have problem with the issue of involving those variables in our research title. I think it depends on the institution. Here in our institution, it is not mandatory for you to involve those variables in your research title. No. The research title that you want to select, it depends on how you want to drive your research. That's it. I was suggest that according to AP, I think page, the new edition, page 31, you say that your research title should be concise. And it should, the most important variables that you're supposed to add in your research title should be the dependent and the independent variable if you are writing quantitative. But if you are doing qualitative, there's nothing like any baseline for you to coin your research title. It depends on how you want to drive your research. That is what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me respond to that quickly. To the last speaker, if you join us at the beginning, I mentioned something like dependent and independent variables.
Yeah.
And if you have independent and dependent variable in your research and add the location, how does it affect your research? It doesn't affect your research at all. In a quantitative study, we want to see independent. At times, we see moderator variables. Take for instance, I did cast experimental research in my PhD, which has independent, dependent, and moderator variable. The moderator variable in my research is gender and location, whereas the independent and dependents are there. So it doesn't harm your study. It doesn't harm your study. Either you put it there or don't put it there, it doesn't harm your study. But what is important is that if you don't put it there, put it under your scope. I said it. If it is more than 18 words, put it under your scope. Give us detail about your scope. But either you put it in the title, you don't put it there, it doesn't affect your work, especially for quantitative. So in qualitative, there are a lot of topics. In qualitative doesn't look for independent or dependent variable at all. You see, some of the qualitative topic, you see that it's more or less like a textbook topic. You see, so that is what I want to bring down. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. There's one thing that I've also observed. I think, Prof, you will highlight on that. On the introduction to the study.
Yeah.
I've seen from many students that have reviewed their work, they use much of their time defining the working title at the introduction to the study, defining variables at the introduction to the study. So with your word of experience as an astute professor, I don't know if you have also encountered similar challenge. And I would like to know from you, what is really creating this unscholarly culture?
By the time you are defining the concept in your literature, your title under the introduction, what will you define under the key terms? What will you define that? I've seen such before. Take for instance, now I'm working on the same topic on mathematics performance. Then I say, what is mathematics? What is mathematics performance? All those things should be under my key terms. You see, because your key terms is being defined operationally and conceptually. Let us listen to these colleagues. In your key terms, we want to know how you are going to use those concepts in your study, not as how dictionaries say, explain it to you. Take for instance, in my study, performance in my study, because I'm doing quantitative, so I can have an achievement test, mathematics achievement test for 7th grade. And I said out of 25 questions, which let me say out of 50 questions, If somebody get 25 and above, the person has passed. I will put it in my key terms definition that performance to me is so percentage. From so maybe 50% is pass, less than 50% is fail. So I will now use that yardstick to analyze my data when I'm gathering the data concerning the achievement test I gave. So I've made it clear at the onset, at the beginning, that this is what I'm going to use. So that is what that one is for. However, different tradition, different supervision skill emanate at times. But the question is that if you have defined all your concepts in your background, what will you define under the key terms? Except such institutions are not using key terms. Thank you.
Okay. I just would like to ask a general question. A student who is willing to work, but the professor is not willing to review the student's work. You have a situation whereby a student is so passionate. This student really wants to get out of school to the field to work. But you have a situation whereby a student will submit a whole chapter, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 to a supervisor. And then the student will be waiting for maybe months. I know students that submitted their work to their supervisor somewhere in September up to now, no feedback. I think a week ago, another PhD candidate sent me a draft letter that he was writing to the supervisor. And
sorry, Ben. But some people are looking for the link. Some people are not hearing that they should join another link.
Oh,
can you send me a link to my WhatsApp, please?
Okay.
Some people want to join. They're shouting me now. I have 2 people who are looking for the link again. Send the new link to my. You see, making 3 now. 3 of them want to join. No link.
Oh, maybe, okay. Let's just send it quickly to your WhatsApp.
Yes, send it to my WhatsApp then. If you have the register of those who register, you can send to them, but I can send it to my link as well.
Okay, I'll send it, and then we can forward it to the South African group.
Yeah.
I think people are joining now.
Because I sent it to them.
Okay.
Because we are close to 20 before now, we're just 10.
Yes, no, we'll try and gather them quickly. And so that we can wrap up. Then I'll also copy it and send it to those.
That was why I presented for just 30 minutes, because I know question and answer will lead us to
we would like to make it more engaging.
Yes, more engaging. Yeah. Let's continue while we are doing that.
Okay.
So you are trying to say that,
I just want to put my question in the proper context. Just a moment.
Okay.
Okay. Prof,
Yeah.
I think let me rephrase my question so that as you being an experienced professor, you'll be able to tell us what needs to be done. In fact, I've had the opportunity to engage about 2 PhD students and 1 master's candidate. One, I know this one is just a bit far from what we just discussed, but we are looking at a situation whereby a student is willing to learn. Very aggressive, radical student who is really interested in his or her research. But you have a situation whereby the supervisor is becoming a stumbling block. The student cannot move, cannot proceed. One, I remember when I was working for one university, I don't want to mention it, one university in South Africa, a student had an issue with his professor because of his work. And the student ended up reporting the supervisor to a senior colleague. And then the senior colleague ended up divulging all the information that the student shared with her to the supervisor. So now, as I'm speaking, the student, he has dropped out from the master's program. Secondly, I've had a PhD candidate who has been on the program for nearly 6 good years, willing to graduate. He is very passionate about his research, but the student is not moving. I have another one, a PhD candidate who has submitted the final draft, everything, to the supervisor. In fact, he's having 2 supervisors. The student is also very passionate about research, willing to get it done. But the supervisor is a problem. So in this situation, as an astute professor, experienced professor, who has worked with over 40 PhD candidates, and I'm a proud product of Professor Adu. In case guys you don't know, he's my boss. So, so Papa, in this case, I know you are also the supervisor, but this is a very tough question, and I want to advise students when they meet such situation, what should be their response? What should be the way forward?
You say, if I start it now, I will not finish in 1 hour. Because there is a workshop on supervisor and supervisee relationship. That's what I can tell you. Supervisor and supervisee relationship. There's what we call formal and informal relationship. That's what we call autocratic and democratic relationship. So, or at the onset, where you are supervising, as a good supervisor, you must make sure that you explain the boundaries. Then you must also make sure. Look, look. I have a slide here, proposal slide. I mean, slides here of many numbers on that supervisor and supervisee relationship, which I want to believe that let us make it a topic for another opportunity. After we have finished this one, we can make it a topic. But what I want to say, just to alleviate those problems you are just saying, is that first and foremost, where is your starting point as a supervisor and supervisee? You need to identify that. Then you need to identify your relationship, formal and informal. Formal relationship based on the context of the university and the rules and regulations. Informal is extended more than that. You know, my own life of my own supervision style, I don't give limits to my student not have access to me anywhere, anytime. That is me. You call me, I attend to you. You visit my house, I attend to you. But we have some that their relationship is 100% formal, nothing but the school. And once you are not in school, and look, I've seen a lot of cases, I'm telling you, that the way you are saying it now, you are pushing blame to the supervisor, whereas we have supervisee. When supervisor is ready, supervisor is not ready. When supervisor is ready, supervisor is not ready. So a lot of things like, so first, the bone of contention here, Dr. B, is that let us define our role at the beginning of the relationship. Let us define and let us make our boundary. Let us define that. That is what I can just say to you so that we can allow more questions.
Okay, any other question, colleagues?
There's somebody sans Eric Bampo.
Okay,
Yeah,
Reverend
yeah, thank you.
Eric
Thank you,
Bampo,
Prof.
over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Doc. Prof, this issue that Dr. Damoah raised, for me, I'm one of the victims. Masters, instead of 2 years, I used 5 years
Jesus.
to finish. By the 2 years, I finished everything, I submitted my work, but the delay, the institutions delays, the supervisor delays, ethical clearance delays. So because of that, where I graduate, I don't want to go there again. So I'm even afraid to go to another institution because you'll be there, you work hard, not that you are lazy, but still, they don't want to check your work. Yeah, so in case of this, I needed some advice to what to do. Yeah, because I'm one of the victims. Now, even because of this delay, every year I have to pay fees. So now I've reported this issue to my dean, and now they are working on it to cut away some of the debt that I've accumulated. So I need a concrete advice what to do.
You are
because I'm afraid to even do my PhD. I'm afraid because of what I went through.
Allow me to share this quickly. Like I told you, I have these slides of 35 slides there. Support for postgraduate students. So, Mr. Eric, what you need to have done is that before it aggravated to 5 years, since you have seen the slow and snail pace, you should report. You should report on time. And the committee of the department must allocate another supervisor for you. Even Dr. Damoah that is talking about was a victim of that. He doesn't want to mention himself or university. You see, before I took over from the person, I took him over from somebody. So when you look at, if there's opportunity for this slide, I will show you many things that can surprise you. Who is a supervisor? What is supervision? Then you say the practice of postgraduate supervision. You see all these things I put there, the role of a supervisor and the role of your responsibility of a supervisor, then until it gets to your own responsibility too as a student. So all these are in this, I presented in the United States in last year by the grace of God. So graduate student responsibility, your own. Once all of you are not meeting yourself in a normal platform, both of you will be find yourself to blame. You see, but in your own case, by the time you study this, look, there's some supervisor who doesn't like your God. Some will say you are too fast. So you could have seen that and report such. You are at liberty to report. You are at liberty to be given another supervisor. And let me tell you what some university did, which is very, very good. In university where I did my visiting professorship in United States, they have a unit. They call them a name. That unit oversees both supervisor and supervisee. That unit knows once you register, they know when to graduate. Once they see that you are not progressing, it is the unit who will caution your supervisor immediately. And if it is vice versa, it is the unit who will caution you. And in that university, your graduation is according to the enrollment stages. Take, for instance, you enter in January 2024, and you are to leave for master's December 2025. So by July 2024, another cohort of enrollment comes in. So that means to you, you are having only 3 semesters more. They have given you warning. So by January 2025, another cohort, making the 3rd cohort, resume school. That is a signal for you that you have less than 2 semesters again. That's how they did it there. So these units are being, in fact, they specialize in monitoring the progress of both supervisor and what? And the student. And they also involve in sensitizing both supervisor and supervisee in workshop, in seminar like this. So nobody will jeopardize. Nobody. So that is the style you could have used when you notice that, wow, 2 years become 5 years. And you could have taken action or step earlier so that you not be a victim of paying school fees or more school fees. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is a very interesting topic. I think we need to find time one day so that you coach us, because students are also scared of being victimized. And I've seen Dr. Omodan's hand. He has raised his hand. Please, Doc, over to you.
Sorry for
and colleagues, before he speaks, very soon he will also appear to make his presentation. He's a prolific author. He will be mentoring us on publications, how to publish. So let's watch the space.
Thank you so much, Doc. Yeah, I just want to make reference to this same issue because with my experience, I know there are some countries that no matter how university try to support students, no matter how the policy of the university is trying to take care of the student, there are still some supervisors who see themselves as demigod. And even in some cases, university will not be able to challenge them. So perhaps this is part of the world where this student is coming from. I don't know. But this side of the world, I know the students are the #1 persons that university want to take care of. The moment you are not comfortable with a particular process, you have every channel to report and demand to be transferred to another person. But I know the case is not the same in some countries. And in that country, I don't know if Prof can advise some of our students how to navigate such, because I know you have a lot of experiences in both sides of the world.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Before you comment, before you comment,
okay.
You see, in the United States, you will be working with an advisor. And then through the advisor, you set up a committee. So now, the advisor is now the stumbling block. You don't even have access to meet your committee members. And you were able to set up the committee with your supervisor. He will be, or he or she will be telling you that pick these individuals to be part of the committee. So now the moment you take the advisor off, that means you have automatically dissolved the committee. So I don't know, Papa.
Thank you very much, colleagues.
Yeah.
Let me answer Dr. Modon's question. You know, in this part of the world, you study the supervisor you want to use yourself. So you need to have background information of that supervisor. If it's the type that wish on student, why do you need to go to him or her? You don't need to go to him or her. So you should you rather take another supervisor who perhaps maybe a novice who can allow you to grow than a giant who will suppress you. That is it. So like I said, the intervention programs is being given in all institutions. In UK here, once you have a committee, like Dr. D said, you have a committee, then you present your proposal before this committee, and this committee are watching you. Like the one I told you of experience of US. In US, there is no, look, hardly do you blame a lecturer or supervisors in US. The blame is on the what? On the supervisee, because supervisee are doing it in form of a part-time and busy looking for money. But in Africa, where you come from, it's opposite, whereby supervisor deliberately don't have time for you. Some are not even because they are wish-hunting you, it's because they have a lot of workload and they are being stressed out because you have little staff and many students. So it happens there. But my own answer to that question, Dr. Modo, is that before you decide to pick a supervisor, know the history of that supervisor. Know the history. They don't go to that supervisor because it's a giant who will suppress you. Go to supervisor that you can run the program together. But the best option is to have intervention of committee who can listen to both supervisor and supervisee and make immediate amendment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. I think we have exhausted quite a lot. I
Yeah.
don't know if there's any other question. Okay, MonYonna, please, are you available?
Yes, so there's
Okay.
another question, and this is
Yes.
probably the last question. It states, what about in the situation where the chair is also the head of your department and you cannot bypass her or him? A friend of mine is a victim of this issue.
Let the person change his, let the person change institution with immediate effect.
Prof, what about if the student is having maybe just a year? A year, practically, maybe the student, he has been with that institution for about 6 years or 5 years. And he's just left with maybe just 12 months to finish the degree.
And this thing happens, right?
Yes.
Professor, please. There's, I think a friend of mine is a victim of what we are discussing now.
Okay.
He don't want me to say it because he's
This is really a systemic issue, Papa.
Let
he's
him talk.
afraid, he's afraid to come out. Okay, so the problem is my friend came here, I think, almost 5 years now. He completed the coursework within 2 years. But he's still in the system. He has never, he's not graduated yet. So he has submitted chapter 1, 2, 3 to the chair, and the chair happens to be the head of departments also. So he cannot bypass the chair to any other person. And in the United States, you cannot bypass your head of department to the dean. This is never done here in the United States. So what advice will you give to the student? Do you want the student to quit the university where he has almost done with everything?
Ethically, Eric, ethically, there's a conflict of interest. If your supervisor happens to be the same as a chair, there's a conflict of interest. Whereby, if you have the muscle to take it further, you can win the case. If you have the muscle to take it further, you can win the case. But I'm still maintaining that before it got to this stage, you must have seen some signs. When you have seen some signs and handwriting on the wall, don't bother yourself. Don't bother yourself to even wait until you are being delayed unnecessarily. Look for alternative. Look for alternative. Like I've said, some, like Dr. Mother said, some supervisors, they are like demigods, whereby without them you cannot move. They are ready to deal with you. Even they are demigod to other co-lecturer in the same department that you cannot do anything. If that's the case now, you need to call to the real God in heaven to help you. If that should be the case. Because
okay, Papa, I think we have exhausted much of our time, but I just want to ask this very good question so that you can wrap up and we close for today.
Yes, please.
I know people that have other different engagement and it's late at the other side of the world.
Yes, it's late.
We here is 1 o'clock now, and I believe it's maybe
it's 7 o'clock here.
Yeah, so we'll try and
9
wrap up.
in South Africa.
Okay. In this current dispensation of artificial intelligence, where our students that we are supervising, they are 1,000 steps ahead than we, the supervisors. How do we deal with this situation? And sometimes these students can even outsmart you.
There's a class in here.
These students can even outsmart you with their skills with this artificial intelligence. They will end up sending theses, they will end up sending dissertations with foreign materials. So how do we control such situation? Because I know for a fact that if we, though we will be very meticulous to supervise their work, we're very diligent to supervise their work. But at the end of the day, the blame comes on us as we, the supervisors. So how do we deal with that?
Thank you very much. You see, last year in conference of Jen in UK here, I spoke on this. You see, especially on 21st century supervisors. And I want to say emphatically that when you are not in line, you are not online. As a supervisor, you should make frantic effort to make sure that your supervisee is not ahead of you in any way. You should groom yourself. You should equip yourself. with whatever is happening in this digital world. You must be flowing together. You must be able to contribute in your own quota. So that is a major problem we are having here. Now, I said it that every digital, okay, take for instance, by tomorrow I'm teaching a topic on digitalization in education, the pros and cons there to some level here tomorrow. And what am I saying is that we look at the opportunity, the challenges of using digitalization or digitalizing education. Now, then when I got there, take for instance now, every invention has limitation. They have weaknesses, they have strength. Then every invention has a way of counter it to see. Like I said, when people are using anything, any device, there's a way for we as a supervisor to understand the use of that device so that we not caught unaware when our students are navigating those devices. Like you have just said in your opening comment, that once you use artificial intelligence, you place it on I authenticate or Turnitin, it will show the percentage of where you took the material from. But mind you, Dr. D, there's some important journal, highly impact journal that allow you to use artificial intelligence, but they have the quota, they have the ceiling. So not that it's completely useless, because we're in a digital world. Everything, they make it easy. You see? So we're in digital world, but the truth of the matter is that where you think you can hide, there is a way you can be exposed as well. So it's not left for the supervisor to be abreast of time, to be 21st century supervisor. Otherwise, your student will just getting 100% in everything. Unmute yourself, we can't hear you.
Thank you very much, Prof.
Yeah.
We so much appreciate whatever that we have said today.
Mm.
And before we will close,
Mm.
we don't want this just to be a 9-day wonder.
Mm.
We would like to form a formidable mentorship team.
Mm.
And I'm here to speak to senior colleagues on the platform where they also join the mentorship team. We don't just want to talk about the problem, we want to deal with the problems. So this mentorship team is going to have erudite scholars, professors, who will be ready to assist any student, irrespective of your geographical location. Whether you are busy with publications, busy with your dissertation or thesis, these professors will be on the platform, readily available to answer any question. So please, let's observe that. And then we are also going to have another seminar, and the date will be communicated in due course. So without much ado, I would like to invite Ms. MonYonna Braxton just to express a word of appreciation to our participants and our special guests. And my dear professors, this young lady is very ambitious and a career-driven person. So please, whatever support that you have, any conference, she's very eloquent when it comes to public speaking. She doesn't mind flying to South Africa anytime that you invite her. She's readily available and is willing to learn. So without much ado, I'll hand over to MonYonna Braxton just to express a word of appreciation to our participants and our invited guests. We recorded 22 participants for the first session and then 14 for the second session. Thank you very much.
We would like to take the time to thank you all so much for taking out, time out of your busy schedules or even out of your sleep schedules to join us on this platform to learn about some of the common eras in research. We hope that this is not, our first time doing something like this, but perhaps next time we'll try to make it accessible to everyone as much as possible. Please go out and share what you've learned thus far with others. If you have any words of advice or even feedback, feel free to reach out to Dr. Benjamin Damoah so that we can incorporate those type of changes in our next study. Thank you so much. And also to our guest speaker, we really thank you and appreciate you as well for coming and giving your words of wisdom as well as knowledge that you've learned throughout your expertise and sharing that with us as well.
Thank you very much, guys. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.